The TrekWorks YouTube channel is sponsored by Tenant Controls, makers of lighting kits, soundboards, and more. Tenant Controls brings your models to life. And by HDA ModelWorks, suppliers of scale model lighting products, detail parts, and complete model kits. Visit HDAModelWorks.com today. Hi there again, everybody. Boyd here with you, and welcome to part 3 of our Shuttle Craft Galileo build. This is the resin kit that's put out by Randy Cooper, and we've made a lot of progress since our last video. My control board came in that I was talking about for our engine bassards on the nacelles, and I've got that installed, and all the wiring went really easily on that. We had pulled all the wires through the nacelles and ran them to the inside of the model and got them all terminated, got the board mounted in the back. I'll take the cover off of the model here and show you that in just a second. I've just got it sitting on there right now. But I've got my paintwork pretty much finished up on it. I got the front glass installed. That all worked out real good. Most of the work that was done was getting these nacelles mounted onto the floor pan. And I just wanted to talk about that a little bit before we moved on. You want to really be careful when you put these on, because this model will fool you. There's no reference points on these nacelles as far as how they attach, so you've got to go by eye, and then, you know, I used a square, did a little bit of measuring. But as you can see, looking at the body here, it starts off narrow at the front and it gets wider at the rear, so it would have been really easy to, you know, if you followed that line, you'd have the nacelles pointed, you know, toed in at the front and too wide at the back. So you want to make sure that from looking at it from above, the nacelles are nice and straight. So it was just a little bit of playing around, and I got it worked out. We made some marks, and then of course we glued them on with CA glue onto the struts there coming off of the wings. And so I just used a little tiny dab of CA glue on each one just to kind of test fit it. And then if I would have been crooked, I would have been able to just break that loose and start over again. But we got them pretty much off the, right off the bat, and then we just added a little bit more CA and got that all taken care of. They're on there nice and strong now. And then I went ahead and painted everything on the bottom. We've got the colors on the nacelles, that darker gray. Got our little bassards covers here on the front and at the back. And all the lighting is working really good. Here you can see I touched up the that black panel there at the back. It had a bunch of overspray around the edges, so I got that all cleaned up. There's one little run on this corner right here that I have to go back and fix. When I put the second coat of clear on this, it's been very, very humid here, extremely humid, more humid than normal, so paint didn't cure right away. And it's more like what we call a sag than a run. It's just where a whole section of paint just kind of drooped a little bit. It's not very bad. I'll just be able to take some 1500 grit sandpaper with some water and just buff it out, and then polish it back out with some compound. But it's in a spot where it's well away from the front and everything, so I'm pretty confident I can fix that pretty easy. But we got our glass put in. I was really being careful with that. I'm happy with how that came out. So what we're going to be doing now is a critical step. We're going to be actually gluing the lid of this, or this whole upper half, to the lower half now, and then we're going to have to go back and putty along that seam and get that all cleaned up. And you can see there's a little bit of material here on the bottom half that's got to be shaved down to match this, and we'll do that with a file and everything, but it's coming along really good. So we're going to be taking some tape and masking over our windows. We'll mask from the inside here on the door on the bottom half. That way when we do our putty work and our our little touch-up paint here, we won't get anything on the interior or ruin the glass. And then we'll just come back and blend all the paint in around the edges, and that'll pretty much wrap it up. So let me go ahead and pop the lid off of this really quick, and I'll show you what we've got here in the back. We've got our little control board that you can see. That's a Tenant Controls board, and each nacelle has 4 individual wires running to it that run all the way up here to the front where these little Bassard domes are, where we have our little 1/2-inch boards that give that rotating spinning effect. So I had to lengthen those wires a little bit, so I just made sure I stayed, you know, identified which color was which and just connected them all one at a time. And then once I got it all done, I just kind of pushed the wires back in there. We got our 2 other power wires that come to the back here for the lighting of these. And so everything is pretty much wrapped up on the wiring, and that's all connected to our flight console up here. And then in the upper half, we've got our wiring coming down from our rear lighting here and the computers on the wall and the overhead lighting. So we're going to, just before we close it up, we're going to connect those 2 together here and put some heat shrink on that and get it all tucked down in. Then we're going to glue it down and everything will be all sealed up and ready to go. So what I'll do now is I'll just pause really quick and I'll hook up the power to the board here so you can get a look at the how the spinners look and all that before we go ahead and close this up. So stand by for that. Okay, everybody, well, here we are with a look at how the engine lighting came out on this. I've got the little boards from Tenna Controls that I talked about here, and they've got some nice you know, orange and yellow coloring to them, so you get that nice orange glow coming off of there. And you can see you get the rotating effect. We've got, just like on the Enterprise, we've got on the starboard side, you know, rotating clockwise, and the one on the port side here rotating the opposite direction, so they turn in toward each other. Wanted to make sure we got that right. So that came out real nice. Got some little diffusion going on in there, so it gives a nice effect. And then back here at the rear, we have these the tails of the engines lit in white. What I decided to do too here, is you guys will see it when I get this connected, is this little panel that we talked about here in the middle, whether that was supposed to be lit or if it was an impulse engine or not. I decided to go ahead and light it. I saw that they did light that on the restored shuttle that's at the Johnson Space Center, even though it's not canon and not original. That's one little exception that I made on this. I thought it looked nice, so I went ahead and lit that with some nice flickering LEDs. You'll see it here in a second when we get it all wired together and the top sitting down on there. But our flight console is all working good and everything, so she's pretty much ready to close up, guys. This is the big step. So I'm going to go off camera here, get this all glued down, and when I come back, you guys will see it all in one piece, and we'll be going on from there to do all of our putty work and everything. So be right back again, everybody. Well, here we are back with a little bit more work done on the Galileo model. I've got the upper half of the body attached to the floor pan now, and it worked out really good. The gaps were very minimal once we fit everything in there. Used a little bit of CA glue to glue them together, and so I'm real happy with how that's coming out. I've been just working my way around the edges here, doing a little bit of putty work, you know, filling in those seams and sanding it down a little bit at a time, and I've got that pretty much ready to go. You can see up here at the front we had that area where the lower body pan kind of overhung the upper half, that extra piece of resin there, so we kind of got that shaved down and smoothed out. Still working on that a little bit, but I went ahead and masked everything off and got the upper half of the wings on the upper body painted here and clear coated, so as soon as those will dry, I'll pull my masking tape off and I'll be working my way around these seams here and sanding them, and we'll mask everything off on that forward section, and I'll just lightly airbrush on the body color there and get that blended in, and then put a little bit of clear coat on that, and it should wrap everything up. All that will be left to do after that is to attach the rear body panel and mount that rear landing strut, and the model will be pretty much finished up at that point, as long as everything goes according to plan. So it's looking really good here, guys. So we'll come back one more time after this, and I guess that'll be the big reveal. So a couple hours here will be just a second or two for you guys, so we'll see you in just a little bit. Be right back, everybody. And presto, we're back again, everybody, to show you the Galileo model all finished up. Just a couple seconds for you guys, but a couple hours for me. I spent the time going back and finishing up all the putty work around the seams where we joined the top half to the bottom, and then took my touch-up paint with my airbrush and just went around and cleaned everything up and blended it all in, and finished off with a little light blending of clear coat over the top of that to get it all looking spiffy. So It all came out really good. I'm happy to say that we didn't I didn't screw up the windows. Like I mentioned, I was really worried about that all the way through, you know, getting some garbage on them or something, but we got that taken care of. I kept it masked the whole time and kept the door opening there masked so we didn't get any garbage inside the model either, so I'm real happy about that. I also added the last of the detail parts on the model. Here you can see this lower hatch opening, this kind of step. I put this little piece of detail on here. This is actually a piece of 180 grit sandpaper that I just cut out this little shape, and then I painted it to match the color of the carpeting on the inside. It has a very similar texture to that. It's kind of like a no-skid surface. Kind of makes sense for a step, so I put a little piece of that down here as well. And I think that little detail looks pretty good. So we got that taken care of, and then here at the back we worked on the rear landing strut. That was kind of a little bit of fiddling around with that. You know, the assembly is several parts, and you have to make sure that you get the angle of it just right. You can see that it's sitting here holding the back of the shuttle where the rear part of the nacelles are not quite touching the ground, and that's how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to sit, you know, sort of tilted down a little bit in the back, but not quite touching. So I just played around with adjusting that before I glued it and everything. It's got several parts to it. It's got a little four-sided U-joint that connects it to the main strut here to the floor plate. So just a little bit of playing around, but nothing too complicated. And then we've got the rear panel installed there. I mentioned that I was thinking about lighting this area up, and I went ahead and did that. Even though that's not canon on the original, it's the way they have it on the full-size prop that's sitting in the Houston Space Center now. So I'm glad I did too, because I put a couple of flickering orange 5mm LEDs in there, and just to give it a little bit of animation, because we have the spinning bassards at the front of the nacelles, and it didn't have much going on at the back besides that static lighting with the impulse engine. So I'm glad I did that, and it looks pretty cool. We'll show you how that looks in just a second, but just wanted to pan around the model here a little bit. Got the windows all nice and clear. I was really careful. Like I said, I kept mentioning that I was worried about ruining those, and I kept everything masked off, and so we didn't get any overspray or anything on the interior or stain the glass and everything. It came out nice and clear, so they look really good. That's important because, you know, most of the detail in this model is the interior, so people that look at it are going to look, you know, through the glass or through the side door here, and we wanted to have that look really nice and clean. But all the lighting is working good. Everything came out really nice. I want to say a shout out to Randy Cooper for producing this kit. For those of us classic Star Trek fans, this is the best available model there is of the original Shuttle Craft, and it's really accurate and really detailed, and it's a great little garage kit. You know, if you're working with the resin type garage kits, you know, you have to do a little bit of work. It's nothing that we're not used to. You got to clean up a few pits here and there, and you've got to you know, do some sanding and remove some flash from some parts and all that, but nothing that us modelers aren't used to, and the results are really well worth it. It's a really beautiful model. It's really accurate. Like I said, it's I think it's, you know, somewhere around 1/30th scale, but I had a look online and I saw some pictures of the original filming miniature, and it still exists, and this looks to be about exactly the same size, so you could actually say that this is a studio scale model as well. And it's just the right size, about a foot long. It's a really heavy little model. It's probably 3 or 4 pounds, maybe 5 pounds, I'm not sure, but being made out of solid resin, it's definitely heavy, but really nice and solid, so should hold up and last a really long time. I've got it sitting here on my work mat with a couple of wires just taped down on there that are making contact with those contact points on the bottom of the nacelles, so we don't have any wiring coming out of the model at all. It's completely self-contained. I'll be mounting this on a base or just setting it on the base, and Jerry at HDA ModelWorks is coming up with a graphic for that for me on the top, which will be just the floor of the Enterprise's shuttle bay, you know, the kind of gray floor with that grid pattern, the circle and the lines and everything. I think it's going to stay stand clear or something like that. So the shuttle will look really nice sitting there. And I'll have a couple little contact points on that where when we set the model down, it'll get power and everything will light up. But I can still pick the model up and show it off or move it around if I want to, and if I ever need to transport it or anything like that. So I think that's the way to go. And I won't be doing that very often, but it'll be nice to have that option if I want to. So you can see it came out really good. Let's have some fun and turn the power on and check out the lighting and everything. Here we'll start off at the front, and you can see we've got that spinning Bassard effect. This is the Tenna Controls kit, lighting kit that's available for the 1/1000 scale Enterprise, the classic Enterprise kit by Polar Lights, which worked out just perfect for this model. I really like the effect that we've got of the, the clockwise and the counterclockwise Bassard movement, and the nice orange and yellow colors in there, kind of similar to the Enterprise itself. That's really nice, and it was really easy to work with and install. Here we'll look at the interior, and you can see we've got that nice glass there, and you can see everything on the inside nice and clear. We'll look on the side again here, and we'll see we've got our wall-mounted computer terminals, or whatever these were, next to the chairs on the inside. And then we've got our flight control console there. We've got the nice color-changing RGBs, and all the other parts of the control panel are all lit up with fiber optics and all that. I'm really happy that I went with the warm white lighting on the interior too. I think that looks a lot better. Sometimes the regular white, especially on a video camera, it will look kind of blue, and I think the warm white lighting is much more reminiscent of the lighting that we saw back in the 60s when Star Trek was being produced, and we saw, kind of more of an iridescent or incandescent look for the lighting instead of, bright fluorescent lighting. So I think that worked out really good. And let's swing around to the back half now and show you what we've got going on here. Now you can see we've got the little tail ends of the nacelles lit and some nice white. And then we have our impulse engine up there at the top, and then down here we've got that flickering effect that I talked about. I had some a scrap piece of sort of some grid work, or whatever you want to call it there, and I thought it was a nice pattern, so I just painted it black and put it on there, and it just kind of broke that whole thing up a little bit, and kind of following along with the theme of the pattern that's up on the upper half there. Not exactly the same, but something going on there, and I think that looks pretty good. So happy with that. And like I said, everything worked out really great on this model. I'll probably come back here in a couple weeks once I get the base in and everything, and show you how it looks sitting on that on a quick little video or something. But I really had a lot of fun building this, and I enjoyed putting together these videos and sharing it with you guys. I hope you enjoyed seeing it. If you decide to build one of these kits out there, it doesn't really come with any instructions, but you can pretty much figure it out. But I hope what we showed here will give you guys a few tips on that, and maybe inspire to do something, or even go beyond what we did here. If you have any questions about it, you can just drop a line on the comments here on the videos, and I'll try and answer it for you and try to help you out. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed seeing this little series. It was kind of short and sweet, but the model went together really nice, and I'm just really happy with it. So just glad to have a kit like this available, especially if you're a classic Star Trek fan like I am. Okay guys, I think we're going to wrap this thing up. I guess I'll turn down the lights here so we can get you a nice soft white or soft lighting shot of it, and you guys can kind of check it out real quick. And like I said, I appreciate you guys following along and your comments and everything else on our videos. So we'll be back again real soon with another project. I don't have any idea what it's going to be yet. We should be getting our 350 scale Reliant back from Elliot Brown pretty soon. He's been working on photo etch and some extra work on that model, and we'll definitely show you that when we get it back here in the shop and we start working on it again. But I'll probably start something before that. I think this time around I'll just kind of pick something and go with it, and we'll just get to it when we do. So hopefully you'll tune in and check that out. So that's a wrap for the Galileo, and again, thanks for watching everybody. We'll see you next time. Until we do, take care, and happy modeling everyone.